It was budget production. They didn't even remove the camera from the back of the mirror. Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Lost Without Translation at the Movies. I'm Mike.
I'm Cam.
And I'm Soroush.
In At the Movies, we watch foreign films.
We are not film critics, we just want to share the experience and these cool movies with viewers.
Today we are going to talk about a movie that you may have heard of, but you probably haven't heard of this one, which is Paranormal Activity 2, Tokyo Night. This movie was released in Japan on November 20th in 2010, and it is, an authorized sequel of the original Paranormal Activity, although it's not really canon anymore anyway. We imported the DVD from France because I don't know of any way to get an English copy. We had French subtitles, which we probably could have figured out some of the story from
Might have helped a bit.
Just because, we know a little bit of French. But we decided to do, the part of this series is not knowing what we're doing, so we went in with no subtitles. We watched the movie. Now we know what's happened, so we'll fill you in on that. But it was a pretty fun experience going in blind. There's not a whole lot of information about why and how this movie was made. We know it came out in Japanese theaters only 2 days before the official Paranormal Activity 2 came out in US theaters. We know that the Presidio Corporation in Japan went to Oren, who created the first film, and asked if they could do this, and he gave them his permission. But there's no real indication of if he thought there wasn't going to be another official 2, or if he just decided to do it both. So it's hard to know why they made this movie. You could assume, I guess, that if the official Paranormal Activity 2 didn't come out and the subsequent sequels, that there would have been more Tokyo sequels, but maybe not. There's just not enough information to know for sure.
This movie was written and directed by Toshikazu Nagai. He's a Japanese TV and film director who's best known in Japan for his film Ghost System. For those who don't know about the original film, Paranormal Activity 1 is a movie that was made in 2007. It's a found footage movie written and directed by Oren Peli. It was such a smash success that it essentially dethroned Saw, which at the time was the reigning horror series. The original Paranormal Activity has two main characters, Katie and Mika, who live in San Diego. They notice some weird things happening around their house, and Katie suspects that it's a ghost. So they set up cameras and they start capturing items being moved and various other odd appearances while they sleep, or occurrences while they sleep. And by the end of the movie, the ghost ends up possessing Katie.
So I don't know how familiar you guys were with the series. When I saw that there was a Paranormal Activity 2, Japan only, that was kind of what kicked off the idea for this series, because that's so crazy in my opinion, that what a thing. So I was crazy excited to see it. Before we actually did see it, I had seen the entire series. I pretty much binged it like one weekend. And so I had a lot of expectations for what I wanted from the Japanese one, or what I thought it would be, if it would be better or worse than some of those. But in general, I was just kind of excited to see it. I don't know. What did you guys think?
Go ahead, Soroush.
I can say that I'm not really a big fan of this genre, so I haven't seen any of those. But I expected a movie that is budget and kind of with handy cam, shaky cam, and kind of some story around it, and being a horror movie.
So have you ever seen a found footage movie? Like, have you seen Blair Witch or Cloverfield?
I have seen them, but it's not definitely my favorite genre. But yeah, I expected what it was. I expected a budget movie that is kind of some story about, like, the part that I really expected was something that makes it believable. Yeah. Like a story that kind of come up with an excuse why there's a camera all the time. Yeah. So that part, we'll talk about it. They did a good job.
Yeah, I think I don't... Before this, I think to this point I've only ever seen, excluding obviously Tokyo Night,
Yeah.
I've only seen Paranormal Activity, the original.
I think some people might say that's the way to do it. But
Yeah, well, I think that's part of it too. So I expected a found footage movie. Obviously, that's like Soroush has said, that's the genre. Like, so, I think what my expectation was it to be a little bit crazy or something. I expected there to be a bit more mystery, maybe I should say, right? And having seen some exposure to like Japanimation where there's like demon lore and stuff like that, I kind of thought maybe there would be some of that in it.
Well, for you to say there wasn't enough mystery and us not even understanding what the language was in the movie, maybe that goes to show you that it was a little too simple. Why are you filming me, bro?
Seriously, how do you break both legs? I hope that was explained in the conversation.
No. She's gonna ask, do you really have to record us eating? Yeah.
Yeah. For science.
Yeah. Find an excuse to turn the camera off. We don't want to watch the whole dinner.
Some really good shot he's framed up of the salad bowl. Because they have to lull you into the false sense of normalcy at the beginning, right? Yeah. So it's just a couple people having a conversation. One of them happens to have 2 broken legs. That happens all the time. Salt.
I think they use it to ward spirits, right? Are they trying to guess? So they're already getting into the ghost shit.
Yeah. Is it just a hunch? Oh wait, maybe she's worried she has ants in her luggage and they put out
sugar. Oh, that's less exciting. That's way less exciting.
What happened?
The salt.
Oh.
Yes.
Ah.
She got lots of ants.
Is there a lot of ants?
No. Like we said earlier, we watched this movie without any subtitles, but luckily the internet has provided everything we need to know about what happened in this film, so we're going to tell you all about Paranormal Activity 2 Tokyo Night.
Without spoilers.
Well, right.
We'll limit the spoilers.
In this section, yeah, we won't get into anything too deep, but if you have seen the movie, you want to hear some more in-depth discussion about the plot, then stick around at the end.
So the main character in the movie is Haruka Yamano, who has just returned to Tokyo after being in a car accident in the United States. When she arrives home, her father and her younger brother there, but the father has to leave on a business trip, so he leaves Haruka in the care of her younger brother, Koichi.
So one day Haruka wakes up to find her wheelchair move, and Koichi thought that shouldn't have happened, so suspecting that a spirit is in the house, he sets up cameras, and so thinking that there's a spirit in the house, he sets up cameras without her knowing, and he sets up a pile of salt, and they find that the next day that the pile of salt dispersed.
So Haruka refuses to believe that there's a spirit in the house. Even after seeing the salt get kicked around, but eventually she does come to believe through some other things that happen, and the rest of the movie is basically, your typical, someone doesn't believe in ghosts and they're forced to believe in ghosts and deal with that reality. Oh, did he film it?
Yeah, he filmed it.
Well, why would he film it to begin with?
Like, because they already...
Maybe they did already think it's a spirit that pushed her down the stairs. If you have this video footage, why do we need video of you watching the video footage? At what point are you just like, I'm not sleeping in this room anymore?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, nothing happened.
And the ghost just covered up the camera. So, I don't know, what do you guys think of it? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it?
I enjoyed it till I guess the last 20 minutes of the movie, till it gets to a point that's like, okay, that's not believable. You should have moved from this place. It's impossible. How can you stay there? Like, there's no more excuses to stay. But maybe I missed the like maybe they're in translation, we were really lost, and maybe there was something that was keeping them there.
What about like for the scariness? Did you find it scary? Like you don't watch so many horror movies, so it was kind of a little tame, I think.
Yeah, it was.
The problem I do have with these movies is because I'm always expecting, ever since the first one, like I'm always thinking something's gonna happen. I end up watching the background for half the movie.
Oh yeah,
Just see, like, is the door gonna open?
Yeah, nothing's happening.
Is the door gonna open? Oh, no door. Yeah. Personally, without trying to give too much away, having only seen the first movie, I sometimes felt like, am I a little confused here? Am I watching the same movie again? So with that, it didn't really scare me. And I think part of it too is you lose in the translation, you lose some of the building. Mm-hmm. Like, because horror tends to build on the unknown, but you need those kind of triggers to kind of put you there. And without the dialogue, you're missing some of it. And there's no music. Because often sound is used to set the scene, and you can't do that in a found footage because it doesn't work. It's found footage. But yeah, I was a little bit disappointed, to be honest. A little bit disappointed. I expected more.
Yeah, like I said, I'd watched all of them beforehand, so I don't know what I expected it to be like. I guess it's best to compare it to maybe the original Paranormal Activity 2 in terms of thinking. If the other movies didn't exist, it probably would have been a decent follow-up to the first one. I feel like it took some of the concepts of the first one and took like a half step forward with them. Like they had some ideas that they didn't really deliver on, but it felt like, if the other movies didn't exist, that might have been okay.
Right.
The idea, like the way that they had the 2 cameras set up later on in the movie,
yes,
that was a really cool idea for a sequel that they didn't do anything with.
You're right.
So that was really it was really frustrating to watch both of those, like jump back and forth and be like, oh, which one's stuff gonna happen in? But then it almost never did anything exciting.
Yeah.
There was never like you would think like, oh, there's gonna be stuff happening in both rooms at the same time, and that never really happened. Yeah. Overall, though, I think it was when it was first finished, I think I had the same impression you had, which is like, this is too much like Paranormal Activity 1.
Right.
Like my feeling at the end was, I've seen this before. Yeah, it's in Tokyo, but is this a remake or a sequel? I don't know.
Right.
But thinking back on it in comparison to some of the other ones, I think it was all right.
Okay.
Yeah, like not great. Maybe better than some of the weaker entries in the series. Definitely better than 4, because I think 4 is the weakest. But probably, I don't know, it depends on who you talk to. Paranormal Activity is such a weird thing, right? Like some people only love the first one, because only the first one was really scary, because no one knew what they were getting into, right? Once you make more, then everyone knows what's going to happen and how it's going to play out. As far as the language barrier goes, I don't think you really need to understand Japanese to just enjoy the movie. It'll definitely give you some more of an understanding of what's happening, but for the most part, you can get in and figure out what's happening. You might not know exactly how some people relate to other people in the film, but you can, oh, look, the ghost is doing this now, and the ghost is doing this now, and hey, they're trying to fight the ghost. So yeah, it's tough to find an English subtitled version. I don't know if there even is one. It looks like there might have been one on YouTube at one point, but there's no official English release, as far as I know. So you probably have to watch it in a different language. Hey, if you know French, then that should make it a little easier, and probably some other languages, but yeah, you should be fine without it. As far as if you should watch it, I think it really comes down to how curious are you. If just hearing that title, Paranormal Activity 2 Tokyo Night, makes you curious enough to want to see it like it did for me, that's probably a good indication that you should check it out. Otherwise, if you've seen most or all of the original films, then you're probably a big enough fan of that series, or at least curious enough about that series, to want to check it out too. So that's who I would recommend this movie to. If you've only seen, one of the movies or a couple of the movies and just you're not that big into it, then you probably won't get much out of this. But for certain, curious people, I suggest you check it out. So after the original Paranormal Activity, 5 more sequels were released. There was 2, 3, 4, the marked ones, and Ghost Dimension. They were all produced by Oren, but there were no other spin-offs other than Tokyo Night. which is pretty surprising because Tokyo Night did really well in Japan. It made back over 30 times its budget at the box office. That might go back to what we said earlier about, I wouldn't be surprised if the Japan production company wanted to make another, Tokyo Night 2, but they, couldn't because the series continued on in the US. As far as the canon goes, Tokyo Night fits in pretty nicely with Paranormal Activity, 1, 2, and 3. But when you get into, Paranormal Activity 4, which changes, the fate of Kate in those original movies, the marked ones does the same thing, or at least shows something a little different happening in that first movie. And Ghost Dimension changes everything that make it so that, Tokyo Night couldn't have happened. But, if you just like those first couple movies, then it fits in nicely with those. So as of right now, there's no way to check out this movie in NTSC format. Basically, if you want to get a DVD, you have to import it from a PAL region or Japan, and so you're going to need to do some conversion to watch it. Can't really stream it anywhere online. Some people have had success finding it on YouTube. That changes every day, so that might be the only place you can try to find it. But if you want to check it out, then hope you can find a copy. We're going to get into some spoilers now, so if you don't care, or if you have seen the movie, you can stick around and see what we think about, it in depth, and otherwise, check out our next movie review. Thanks!